You guys are watching the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, answering all of your questions coming in as part of today's live Dallas Cowboys mailbag. Head to our first one here from Mario. Was it me, or did they kind of shut Parsons down this game? I thought Parsons was less impactful. I will say this, in general, when you're playing off-ball linebacker versus playing edge rusher, you're not going to be as impactful unless you're making big-time plays in the passing game. It's not really Parsons' strength. I don't think he was bad. Please don't take it that way. I thought your interior D-line didn't have their best game against the run, but I thought Parsons was a bit quieter, and that was probably a game plan thing by the Patriots to at least some extent. Speaking of Parsons, from Tristan Brown, do you prefer Parsons at edge or linebacker? My answer is both. Unless you want to give Jabril Cox more reps at linebacker, we can have that conversation at some point. I do want to see more edge rusher reps from Parsons. I think he's too good of a pass rusher, what we've seen in limited time, to not utilize him more in that area. I don't think the Patriots, by the way, were a strong matchup. They like to run the football. I prefer Parsons at inside linebacker in that role than that outside linebacker role. But I do want to see Parsons get more edge rushes. He can play LVE a bit more. Play Jabril Cox a bit more. I don't think the Cowboys are loving their off-ball linebacker play so far this year, hence Parsons playing more there. But yes, I would use Parsons more at that position. Also, Kelvin Joseph news, expected to come back this week in time, or not this week, after the bye for the Cowboys, but there won't be any rush there because they don't have to. From Will Marshall, TD versus Diggs, KZ arrived in time to blow it up. Yes, he did. And the way that these stats work, the advanced data metrics work, Diggs' man scored the touchdowns. So he's going to get dinged for the touchdowns and the yards, even though he was in phase. Yeah, he went for the move. He recovered with more than enough time. The blame there, unquestionably, and Demonte Casey, after Diggs said it was my fault, Casey was like, nah, you lying. It was me, which is what you want between your teammates. That was on Casey. That was his fault. He had the angle. He had the chance to make the play, so they just took a terrible angle. He also did that in the Malik Hooker-Hunter Henry touchdown, too. He didn't go break up the ball. So that's something Casey has to be better about moving forward. From Dr. J, any changes to center over the bye week? I think you're asking, does Connor McGovern take over at center, which I understand. One note on McGovern, very impressed with how he's fared in that kind of fullback, tight end type of role. Now, to be fair, he's getting to go against linebackers heavily. He should be dominant, but still, he's played very well in that role so far. I think Tyler Biadasz, the center, has played better the past couple of games, although, frankly, literally one of the holdings that was flagged for Connor Williams was actually on Biadasz, but, whatever. Still not a great player. The problem, though, is with the CBA changes in recent years, you don't actually practice all that much during the bye. It's really just rest and recovery time. So it doesn't necessarily lead to more big-time changes. But I know many of you want to get McGovern out there, and center is still your weak spot on the offensive line, although at 5-1, don't complain too much. So what do you think? Should Dallas start Connor McGovern? This is the pinned comment on today's video. To get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down, get your votes in. Y for yes and for no. Austin Carey, Gallup was out for several weeks over his calf, hoping Dak come back for the Vikings. Worst case scenario, any free agent QB you take Cam. I know Cam is vaccinated. I don't know if he's fully though, so you might have to wait the 5 days, and now you're in the Vikings game. So I think the timing for a short-term injury doesn't really benefit signing any quarterback. I'll say this though, yes, they're both calf strains, but on the scale of calf strains, they're in very different spots. This is not the multiple week one that knocked up Gallup. My expectation, Dak is good to go against Minnesota. Austin Carey says, Tom Downey for head coach in 2021. My job is to actually let Kellen Moore be the head coach in that scenario. He gets to call the plays. We are just super, super aggressive in games going forward and never punting. From Big Lime Guy. What a great username. I love MG13, but at this rate with how Wilson is playing, should we let Gallup go in free agency? Save some money that way. We're 6 weeks in. So I say let's check in like 16 weeks, and we'll have a much better feel. There's a scenario where, maybe Cedric Wilson gets hurt, Michael Gallup gets hurt. There's so much that can change over the next months that you don't have to make a decision right now. These are future Tom problems. Yeah, you're aware of them. They inform some decisions you might make in terms of who you have to cut, which we'll, again, get to later on. But, yes, Wilson's been impressive. Yes, that's a factor. I know it's the bye week. Let's check in again in, 16 weeks, and we'll have a much better feel for what the Cowboys will actually plan on doing. Now, if you're a gambling man like me, there's some pretty intriguing odds out there around the NFL, and as a gambling man, I regret to inform you that another bad week for me here in the Chat Sports Office picks. 2-3. Once again, I felt great about the chart for the first time all year, by the way. My losses were not close. My losses this year have been like, a point here, 2 points there, and 3 blowouts right there. I drop all the way down to 2-3 on the week overall. Again, folks, you can get a 125% deposit bonus when you go to chatsports.com/bet and you utilize promo code Cowboys125. That's chatsports.com/bet, promo code Cowboys125. Get yourself that deposit bonus, and even if you go 2-3, guess what? You still got plenty of money left over. Another super chat, this time from Clinton Purcell. LVE wasn't good this game. I think Jabril Cox needs more reps. Unlike last year, I'm a bit more inclined to give the Cowboys defensive coaching staff some benefit of the doubt. They had lost that for me last year. I thought overall your run defense was pretty poor. Leighton Vander Esch was a factor in that. But remember, I got the snap counts up here. He only played 27 snaps. Jabril Cox played, I think, 1 technically. So I think that was the goal line rep, if I'm remembering correctly here. Keanu Neal didn't think played great either. The issue is, from what he did in college, Jabril Cox was better in pass coverage, not so much in run support. If he's getting better there, then yes, give him more reps. I think as the year goes on, you will see more of him. From my burner account, what's the chance of Lael Collins being the future left tackle? I don't think that high. Frankly, if I had to wager one way or the other right now, who's more likely to not be in Dallas next season, I actually think I might lean towards Collins being gone instead of Tyron Smith. The age gap is not nearly what you think it is. And even though we had the scare this past week for Tyron, he was out there. Again, minor ankle. He's fine on that front. All those things added up, like, Tyron's still dominant. So, possible, I wouldn't say that high as we sit right in this moment. From Clayton, can we save enough cap to keep Pollard and Michael Gallup? Can we also trade draft picks to help re-sign? Thoughts? No. I think you're actually looking at it the wrong way. When you have a good football team, which is what the Cowboys are right now, and you got a bunch of good pending free agents, trading draft picks doesn't really create anywhere near the amount of cap space that you need. What you'll end up doing is looking on offense. Pollard's got another year, so future problem. But Gallup, Schultz, Connor Williams are all on one-year deals. Although you could technically bring back all of those players, you're not going to. You will pick and choose, let some players leave, and then draft cheap players, hopefully draft well, and continue to rebuild and refresh. Frankly, the Cowboys have done a good job of that over recent years. Folks, I want to get to 109,000 subscribers here on our Cowboys YouTube channel. The goal, the long-term goal, is to double up the Washington football team's actual YouTube channel. We're on pace to do that by the time the Cowboys play them, but we're still not there yet. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe for more videos. From Corey, what's up with Jarwin? He's done nothing so far. And well, he did just catch a touchdown pass. Jarwin has been tight end 2 for this team. Dalton Schultz is tight end 1. Of the 89 snaps the Cowboys played last week, which is a just massive figure, by the way, Dalton Schultz had 75. Blake Jarwin had 47. So he's playing over half the snaps, But in terms of the pecking order, okay, you got to feed CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Gallup when he comes back, Dalton Schultz, Zeke Pollard. Okay, now you see why Jarwin's numbers have not been very consistent at this point. From Kevin Klein, can the Cowboys trade for Quinnen Williams? There it is, back again. What is dead may never die. I would love it. This is the first name that I'm calling about trying to acquire. I think adding Quinnen Williams to your defensive tackle depth chart with Odighizuwa and Neville Gallimore, you'll rotate those guys. Oh, man, is that a good unit. Think about this pass rushing unit, right? If you want to bring some pressure, Gregory, Tank Lawrence when he's back, some combination of Odighizuwa, Gallimore, plus Quinnen Williams and Micah Parsons, that is an awesome rush. Now, the Jets, I don't think, are stupid. Quinnen, outside of maybe Jeffrey Simmons, is one of the premier young defensive tackles in the NFL. I don't know how realistic of a trade target he really is. There's no harm in that. The Cowboys-Jets front offices over the Jamal Adams fiasco have not been on the best of terms, but this is the ideal target for me. I don't know how realistic it is, but I'd go get him. So speaking of that, try to keep this realistic. Your bar is below Quinnen, which is a pretty low bar and high bar, whatever it is. Anyway, get your votes in. Who is your realistic dream target? From Dennis, I love Diggs, but he's let up so many yards trying to bait a quarterback to throw to him. That is the play style. If the receiver doesn't look open, then they're not going to throw it to Diggs. In the end, this is what you are okay with because he's got 7 interceptions. The yards will come down as the interceptions come down when teams stop targeting him. I'll say this. Diggs has 7 interceptions in 6 games. Let's just appreciate the greatness in front of us. From Alejandro, what is the probability of Collins moving to left guard with Tyron Smith? I don't think the Cowboys are going to approach that. I've got no problem in the bye doing your self-scouting. I know that Connor Williams has a bunch of penalties this year. He's actually been great in pass protection outside of that. By the way, one of those penalties was on Biadasz. I still don't know what he did to get the personal foul penalty. No idea. Never saw the replay. Question if it happened because the refs have no credibility with me. But I'll say this. Moving from right tackle to left guard, outside of moving a tackle to center, is about as drastic of a shift as you'll find midseason. I don't like that idea right now. I think it's more of a plug-and-play at the right tackle spot because overall your offensive line has been pretty darn good so far this season. Speaking of the Cowboys overall, what is your confidence level with what they've done at this point in the season? Rate this for me on a scale of 1 to 100. Flood those comment sections right now. Super chat from Andres. Predict the future. How many all-pro players will the Cowboys have this year, and how many Hall of Famers are on this roster? I think you got one guaranteed 100% lock. Zach Martin. Tyron Smith, I think, gets in. If Dak's got to win at least one Super Bowl, if he does, he probably gets in, I guess. A little early on any of your receivers, on your running back. Trevon Diggs having an all-pro caliber year. I think your all-pro candidates right now might be asking too much for Micah Parsons, but maybe Trevon Diggs. Dak Prescott will be in that conversation. I think Zeke Elliott will be in that conversation. Maybe CeeDee Lamb and probably Zach Martin and Tyron Smith in that area.